The family is left feeling immense pain.
Oh, look at what's happened. Look at what's happened to me.
Open the door and there's a dead body right there.
Neighbors in San Carlos Park woke up to find a woman shot dead right in their front yard. They could have never guessed what was happening inside the home right across the street. Deputies say a man went on a rampage, killing 2 women with 2 young children inside the home. Thank you for counting on NBC2. I'm Brenna White.
And I'm Peter Bush. Deputies say Ethan Cartwright barricaded himself inside, but eventually surrendered. NBC2's Gage Golding is the only reporter talking to the neighbors who made the gruesome discovery this morning.
Heard some like screaming and stuff, knocking, and then I know you just heard the shots.
Rico, who didn't want to show his face on camera, was home with his roommates this morning. They weren't expecting any visitors.
Pretty much just open the door and there's a dead body right there.
A black woman covered in blood and motionless was lying on his front step.
Didn't know what to do, to be honest.
They called 911, but had little hopes of saving her.
We pretty much knew she was dead at that point.
But what they didn't know is in the home right across the street, another woman was killed in the kitchen.
That's just horrible. You know, that's horrible that 2 women died and, you know, a guy shot him. I just can't believe that.
The alleged shooter, 31-year-old Ethan Cartwright, barricaded himself inside a bedroom. Deputies say 2 children were also inside.
It's just really sad that there wasn't something else that could have happened before it got to this point.
Eventually, the SWAT team took him into custody.
He'll now be transported to the Lee County Jail.
Cartwright is now facing 2 counts of second-degree murder. While the next of kin for both women have been notified, LCSO hasn't released their names or the relationship between Cartwright and the victims.
And breaking news in Lee County. This is our first look at the man accused of murdering 2 women this morning in San Carlos Park. Within the last hour, the sheriff and his deputies walked 31-year-old Ethan Cartwright out of their headquarters and to jail. Deputies say Cartwright shot both women at a home on Apple Road west of Lee Road.
2 children were inside that home when a fight started and a neighbor called 911. NBC2's team of reporters are in the neighborhood and at the sheriff's office tonight. We begin with Claire Lavazorio in San Carlos Park.
Right now, the sheriff is not telling us the relationship between Cartwright and the 2 women, but I want you to take a look behind me. This scene has been active since 8 o'clock this morning. This yellow crime scene tape up, blocking off Apple Road, and we've seen deputies as well as detectives heading in and out of one home specifically with an open garage door. You can see where that sheriff's vehicle is parked right out front, as well as the mobile command unit, and they are looking for any evidence that can lead them to a motive. A domestic violence incident in a San Carlos Park neighborhood early Thursday morning took the lives of 2 women.
Upon our arrival, our deputies located 2 females deceased from apparent gunshot wounds.
Sheriff Carmine Marcino says after his deputies found the 2 women, they quickly found the accused shooter, Ethan Cartwright, and used a taser to try to take him into custody. This all happening with 2 young children inside the home.
Our suspect had a firearm. He did not present deadly physical force to our deputies. If he did, he wouldn't be in the back of a squad car. He wouldn't be in custody. He'd be a job for the medical examiner and 6 feet under in a casket.
Cartwright then barricaded himself in a bedroom, but SWAT members were able to negotiate with him to get him out of the home and into custody. At this point, we're working to find out the relationship between Cartwright and the 2 women he allegedly shot to death.
Domestic violence is 0 tolerance, and today our suspect learns about that.
Cartwright is facing 2 second-degree murder charges. He is currently being held in the Lee County Jail. I'm live in San Carlos Park. Claire Lavazorio, NBC2.
And I'm Ashley Graham on Apple Road. Some neighbors tell us they woke up early this morning to gunshots and commotion right in their backyards.
Around like 7 a.m., 7:30, I was woken up
by 2 gunshots not far from her home. Courtney Dimmer says her first instinct was to try and protect herself.
I was worried. I have my concealed carry myself. I have a gun. My first thought was, well, where's my gun?
Then she heard a 3rd shot and sirens a few minutes later.
You're Mind kind of wants to think that it's not gunshots. You want to think maybe it's like fireworks or something, but at 7 a.m. you probably know that's not the case. So
Investigators say there were children inside when the shooting happened.
In terms of like kind of mentally what they had to see and stuff, that's really scarring and traumatizing. So I feel really bad for the kids, and I kind of hope they can get the help that they're going to need.
Dimmer says she witnessed domestic violence in her home as a child. She says this morning's shooting touched her personally.
it's just really sad that there wasn't something else that could have happened before it got to this point.
Neighbors tell us they're grateful no children were hurt, but they were devastated to hear about the 2 people who were killed.
The crime scene tape is down, the detectives are gone. But what happened in this home is forever burned in the minds of everyone in the San Carlos Park neighborhood.
It's not something that you can just get over it from one day to another. It's going to take time.
Remy Fleury knows that too well. His daughter and his ex-wife are dead. His grandchildren witnessed the double murder.
I feel devastated. That's the only daughter I have. I have no other kids.
Remy Fleury told me he came back here to this crime scene to get the clothing and toys for his grandkids.
They are my kids now. Not grandkids, but they are kids.
The 2-year-old little girl still cries for her mom and grandmother.
She keeps asking for grandma. Grandmama, mama, grandma. Where's grandma? Where mama? Since the incident, she doesn't eat anything. She doesn't drink.
And the 6-year-old boy still remembers every vivid detail.
He explained how the scene happened, how Ethan killed grandmother.
Fleury told me he feared this day might come. In 2016, deputies in Broward County arrested Cartwright on domestic violence charges. While this affidavit doesn't name the victim, Fleury said his daughter was holding their son and trying to pack and leave the home when Cartwright pushed her, then punched her with a closed fist.
What I'm waiting for is justice for the family. The justice I'm waiting for is that guy is the death penalty for him.
And I also talked with a trauma expert, and she told me that it's going to take a lifetime of therapy for those 2 kids to heal. But she said that healing is possible, and that's exactly what Remy Fleury told me he's praying for.
That guy had in his head to kill all the family.
2 children had to watch in horror as their mother and grandmother were murdered in San Carlos Park. Tonight, just a day after the gruesome murders, you are hearing from the family of 30-year-old Ann Fleury and 56-year-old John Andre. Thank you for counting on NBC2. I'm Peter Bush.
And I'm Brenna White. Family says the man who pulled the trigger was the mom's boyfriend, Ethan Cartwright. He allegedly texted a friend a confession and a picture of one of the women dead. Tonight, NBC2's Megan Myers is the only reporter talking to the victim's family, walking us through the traumatizing ordeal.
Ann Fleury's 6-year-old son says he watched his father shoot his grandmother. He described being terrified as he heard his grandmother yell his father's name. Moments later, he says his mother ran outside, where she was later shot.
She asked me, what if I know Ann? I said, yes, I know Ann.
A phone call from a deputy left Remy Fleury feeling numb.
I asked her, what happened to her? She said, she passed away.
He quickly notified other loved ones. His 30-year-old daughter was gone, along with her 56-year-old mother, Jan Andre. The family is left feeling immense pain.
Oh, look at what's happened. Look at what's happened to me.
Ann's family is now taking care of her 2-year-old and her 6-year-old. Her father says she was a great mother to her kids.
She never called me dad. She always called Titi.
Deputies say Ethan Cartwright killed Fleury after shooting her mother.
My niece, when she came and saw her mother on the floor, she opened the door and ran in on the street to a neighborhood. And by then, the men ran out behind her and shot her.
Ann's father describes Cartwright as an extremely violent person.
That guy had in his head to kill all the family.
The victim's family members want justice.
They need to let him stay in jail for life.
As they mourn the loss of 2 loved ones.
We need justice to be safe. We need justice for Anne and her mom. We need justice.